So this is Gloria, the pink-haired investor realtor from Indianapolis again. I am on with Harit and Undani today. And today we're gonna do a walk the project video. So this is gonna be a 4-part series. So we actually got videos of Harit's project before, in the middle of the project, and then after the project. So today we're gonna kind of walk through some of his numbers, some of the challenges that he experienced, some of the good things that happened with this project, and then just kind of talk through it so that it's a good experience for the rest of you. So welcome, Harit.
Thanks, Gloria.
All right, so this project is one that he did in the Indianapolis area with me, and it is in the town of Brownsburg. So for those of you that don't know, Brownsburg is northwest of Indianapolis. It's about 6 miles from the border of Indianapolis and probably about 15 miles to the center of downtown Indianapolis. So it takes about 20-25 minutes to get from downtown Indianapolis to Brownsburg. Brownsburg is very much a suburb area of Indianapolis. It's a growing little town. So like in the middle of downtown with some older houses that were built in the like 20s and 30s. And then they just put like the downtown Main Street area, they kind of took down a whole bunch of houses and built some great big new office buildings and some multi-use with some loft apartments on top and retail and restaurants in the bottom. Very growing community, A+ schools, so just a great area to be. So that's kind of a little bit of background around Brownsburg. So Harit, had you done any research on Brownsburg specifically, or were you just looking in the suburbs of Indianapolis?
So I knew of the suburbs of Indianapolis. You know, there's Plainfield, there's Avon, Brownsburg. Those are really nice areas that were not direct targets for when I was investing, but I knew about them and I was keeping an eye open. They're a little bit higher price point, so it has to be a good deal to actually get into one of those. And generally a lot of demand from homeowner occupants in that area. So it's really hard for investors to compete with that. But I ended up finding one. I knew of the area, wasn't actively looking, but I stumbled upon it to some extent on this Brownsburg one.
Okay, and so then, and I think I know it was a weekend. It was like a Saturday or Sunday, and you just basically just texted me the address and said, "What do you think of this one?"
Yeah.
So, and I remember it was a Sunday afternoon. I had my family in the car, and I'm like, "We got to go stop and look at this." So I went and I recorded it and sent you the video. And then, kind of, what were your thoughts after that?
Yeah, and I think it was the one thing that I was really glad about was that you were able to quickly get over there and get me a quick snapshot of what it looks like inside and your perspective about the property that is not always evident from just looking at the pictures. Mm-hmm. So after I looked at the video, I thought about, oh, let's see what the comps look like in this area. And it sounded like an interesting deal because generally houses in that area are priced much higher, which means that there was an opportunity to do some work on the project. Obviously, there was work to be done. It wasn't something that you could just turn around and use as an investment. But it got my thought process going on, okay, how do we make this happen? What kind of work is needed to make it ready as an investment property? And just starting to discuss next steps with you and get your perspective on it.
Yep. So we got an offer in right away. And if I remember right, it had been under contract with someone else, had just come back on the market that day. And so Harit acted quickly. We got the offer in fast before any other people had put offers in and won it the next day. So then we started the process of getting it and fully inspected. And I had noticed, like when I walked through, that, okay, the floors are sloping a little bit here, the kitchen needs some attention, that kind of thing. But I really felt like the bones of it, the structure was pretty good. And the best thing about it was the yard. Like it's almost on 3/4 of an acre. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which is very unusual. The red flags were that it was on a busy road. But other houses in this area had been getting developed. So we saw that. And so then after we got under contract, we did the inspection. So do you remember some of the things that came back from that inspection?
Yeah, actually, I do. So the property has a garage, so we had some findings there that we needed to get taken care of. The sewer line needed some attention, So we had to install a clean out, for example, because there wasn't any to be found, which is challenging. And obviously a lot of things inside. Since it's an older home, there was some attention needed, and we really wanted to get inspector's opinion on how the structure looks. So nothing major there, but again, there were some fixes that we needed to do. A leak, there was some mold that needed to be fixed, so some drywall replacement. So those kind of findings appeared as part of that. So we made sure to amend that as part of the renovation.
And then got some contractors in there. How many contractors did we get in for bids for you? Do you remember?
So we got 3.
Okay.
And then I was able to go with the one that I thought had the best communication, had good pricing, and someone I thought I could develop a relationship with over time.
And then how did you do financing on this particular one?
So the acquisition was using cash for this one. So it's a project where I plan to do a cash out refinance later on.
Okay, so cash for the initial acquisition and for the construction as well.
That's correct.
Okay, and then do you remember numbers on this? What was the initial purchase price?
Yeah, it was around 130,
okay,
approximately. And then we put in a good amount of work into it. So 40 to 50 for renovation. So really, get a nice livable space, make sure everything is upgraded so that it looks brand new. We fixed a lot of things outside and inside to make it really just a nice property. And I'm sure we'll see that as part of the videos that you're going to present.
So what were some of the challenges that you came across the way? Is there any like really big road bumps that you ran into on this project?
I would say as far as challenges, I think, keeping track of the progress on the property in terms of whether renovation was progressing as I was hoping for, and the timeline that I had agreed upon with my contractor was an important one. I had to constantly make sure that, it was on time, things were getting done. The other thing is, Gloria, you helped out with making sure that it's progressing and sending occasional photos and videos of how the progress is going. So that was helpful. The other thing is, obviously, when you do a renovation, that's a non-trivial size renovation, that you'll forget some things up front and scope of work. So while we were doing this, we found some things and we added them to the scope of work during that time. It wasn't part of the original one. So I had accounted for some overages in terms of time and cost. So I was able to stay within those overages, but definitely there was a little bit of scope creep. I would say about 5 to 8% more than I had anticipated.
Was that mostly cosmetic, or was there anything major that came up when they were in the middle of renovations?
Nothing major came up. Fortunately, nothing large came up when renovation was happening. So those were smaller items, but just something that I needed to get done to ensure that it's really a well-rounded property. We're not cutting corners. Everything looks nice and is done according to the guidelines.
So then at the end, what was your original strategy when you were coming in to do this as a flip or a hold, or what was your original strategy?
The strategy has been hold. That's always my primary goal when I approach investing. Most times, is to just buy and hold for the long term, not create taxable events if I can avoid them, and really just longer term equity building is really a primary target, primary goal. So that was the intention, but I was confused at some point. The property looked very nice after it was done. And I remember, Gloria, we were having a conversation about this. Maybe this could be a flip, right? I mean, there's always, in this kind of market, one always needs to keep an open mind about flipping a property.
Yeah. So what we had done was, he was just at the end, was like, I really have options here. So let's explore the options, and it was, let's run some comps, see what they are. And he honestly could have flipped it and made a pretty decent profit. But then again, it's like tax implications and all the extra fees and bringing that in there. And then ultimately then you ended up deciding to just go ahead and hold it and rent it out. So What was your process of finding a property manager? And I don't think you have a tenant in there yet, right? You're still in the process of tenant screening right now.
Yeah. So yeah, property manager, again, I think this is a lot of networking. So the one thing I would emphasize is really talk to people who have invested in the area. Investors out there are very helpful. Folks like Gloria are very helpful. You can get a recommendation from them about property managers or vendors that, Gloria, you've worked with before, because you know the professionals working in the area. So that's how I found my property manager. It was really through networking. And then I follow a fairly standard process on my side. I have a checklist of questions to ask. So I interviewed a few property managers, and then again, the one that I thought was communicating the best, was responsive, and I thought we could build a good relationship with is one that I went with. So yeah, that's my process.
So, and the house is completely done now. How soon do you hope to have it rented out then? And then what is your price that you'll be renting out on then?
So it is a challenging time. December is typically probably the hardest month. December and January, hardest months to actually rent out a property. So it will take some time, and we had accounted for that because we knew the renovation was ending, sometime mid-November, around Thanksgiving time. So we'll take some time to get the tenant in, but the rent range we're looking at is, somewhere between, I want to say, $1,600 to $1,800 is what we're trying to target based on comps we've seen in the area.
So basically, just to run numbers again, you acquired this for 110, and you put 42.5 in it for construction costs, correct?
So 130, and then about 45 for construction costs. Yeah.
Okay, so we're all in at 185. When we run comps, as far as sales price and hopefully what you can refinance that are going to be right around 230, correct? Is that kind of what you're thinking for refinancing? So again, all in 185, and he's hoping to rent it for 1,700 to 1,800. So, which is in the suburb areas, a very common, for that size of house. It ended up being a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, correct? Or just 4-2? 4-2.
4-2.
4-2. So 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And then the kitchen's a nice, great big eat-in kitchen with an extra porch, and then just a really nice backyard as well. So hopefully, again, in Indiana, rentals are challenging during the holiday times and during the winter season, but I really don't think you'll have any trouble getting this rented out after the first of the year. So I know as property managers working hard on getting some screen tenants in there. So any other last words of wisdom or anything else you would like to talk about this project?
No words of wisdom. I am a newer investor myself, so I think the one thing that I would say is consistency. Keep plugging away. It's a numbers game. Don't feel discouraged if you're not getting deals. This is a very challenging market, but if you have good professionals working with you, like Gloria, I think success will be there at some point. Just keep with it.
Okay, so now we've got this one all wrapped up. Just looking forward to finding you another one, and we're going to do it all over again.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks for being with us today, Harit.
Thanks, Gloria. Have a good day.
You too.